cost you your freedom, and that's the claim of a man in the U.S. arrested over the G20 protest in Pittsburgh. The FBI accused him of using social networks to organize the unrest, and as Anastasia Churkina reports, though the charges were dropped, a precedent for internet arrests has been set.
In this day and age, you're either a user yourself or you know someone who is addicted to either Facebook or Twitter, or both. Social networking sites draw millions of hits every day. But how safe are you when you say or do something on the web?
You may think there's a limited number of things you could do on the internet that could get you in trouble. But as it turns out, in the U.S., the list is growing almost every day. And one man in New York has been finding this out the hard way.
Michael grows tomatoes up on his roof. He also has an old dog named Sahara and 2 turtles. He and a friend were arrested and charged by the FBI for allegedly directing protests at the G20 summit in September. Michael calls himself a hippie and an anarchist and says he has gone through hell for his political beliefs.
I think all authoritarian governments don't like internal protesting. The whole idea of the G20 protests was an attempt to try to talk about those issues, talk about the richest people in the world getting together, making decisions for the 90% of us.
Michael was accused of tweeting the whereabouts of police officers to protesters and informing the demonstrators about law enforcement actions. His home was raided by the FBI in search of suspicious items.
So this is one of the items of interest the FBI listed as being a concern for some reason. It's a 1927 microscope, kind of old antique stuff. So these are some of the items that they listed. Again, they didn't take it because it wasn't part of the warrant, but they were concerned about my fencing equipment. And I taught fencing in high school and gave demonstrations at elementary schools.
One of the attorneys involved in the case, Martin Stoller, says what the authorities did was nonsense from the very beginning.
It's perfectly legal. It is exactly the same kind of speech that one would give to if you're walking down the street with somebody in the course of a lawful demonstration and you say to that person, hey, don't go down that street because the police have said don't go there. They've issued an order to disperse. That speech telling somebody else what to do is totally protected. It's not counseling a criminal act. It's trying to avoid committing a criminal act.
All charges against Michael and his friend have now been dropped. But a precedent for arrest over Twitter has now been set for the first time in American history. Anastasia Churkina, RT, New York.